Welcome to Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt of the Marquardt Law Firm at marquardtlawfirm.com.
Family, fortune, and fallout. When loyalty, love, and good intentions create costly estate planning problems. That's today on Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt. But first, let's check in with Jacob Warren with the Financial Focus. He owns and operates Financial Planning HQ with his father and brother. He's been working alongside them for 10 years and is passionate about helping business owners plan their financial success. Jacob loves the outdoors and, most importantly, being a husband to his wife, Catherine, and father to their two kids, Arthur and Camille. Welcome back.
Thank you, Todd. It's great to be here. You mentioned my dad. I want to give him a little bit of a shout out. He's actually watching my kids right now. So hope you're listening and having fun together.
Yeah, thanks, Granddad.
Yeah.
Jacob Warren with Financial Planning HQ. Last time you mentioned that many affluent families have several advisors, but no one leading the process. What does financial leadership actually look like?
Yeah, that's a great question, Todd. So financial success requires financial leadership. So if you think about what financial leadership is, you may not realize that a lot of people don't have somebody running the show when it comes to their subject matter experts. So it's a big gap that we see. Most successful people have assembled a team of experts, right? Think about like a CPA, an estate planning attorney like yourself, Todd, and a financial advisor, somebody that manages your various types of insurance, or if you're a business owner, like a business attorney. Every one of these people is highly skilled and effective at what they do, but there's not one person that steps up to the plate to lead all of these people, to show them exactly what your values, what your goals are, and know that all of these people are helping you get to that end goal that you may have. So that's what we offer to our financial planning clients, is that coordination between everybody. So just to use kind of a practical example, if you think about what goes into building a home, right?
Right.
So you have all sorts of people. You have the architect that's going to design everything, electrician, plumber, people doing the actual work. If those people don't communicate with, say, a general contractor who is overseeing the whole project, I mean, who knows what's going to happen, right? They have to communicate, and they all have to know what the end goal is. They're very good at what they do, but the overarching strategy is something that you need to have a person that's going to be managing that to make sure that you're successful.
Yeah, otherwise they'll mess things up.
Of course, yeah, and that's definitely don't want that.
Can you give us an example of where that coordination makes a real big difference?
Yes. I was actually thinking about this earlier this week because I'm going through this now with a couple of clients. And I'm sure you've heard of Roth conversions, right? Mm-hmm. Roth conversions are kind of a hot topic right now because it makes a lot of sense to do them, but you want to make sure that you're doing it correctly. If you're doing it on your own, something that can happen is you can bump yourself into a new tax bracket. So nobody wants to pay more taxes. So Roth conversions, while they're a great strategy, you need to have some coordination between the person that's actually doing the Roth conversion, say the financial advisor, financial planner, and somebody like a CPA who can come back and tell you, hey, this is where you're at now. And if you take X amount of dollars out of your Roth and do a Roth conversion, you're going to be bumped into a new tax bracket. You're going to pay this much more taxes. We don't want to do that. And what we're doing now, and we work very closely with various CPAs, is we tax project forward to give the clients an idea of what they're going to be paying in taxes. And for our clients that do Roth conversions, we have our CPA actually send us a budget for what they can do this year without affecting their tax status. That's very powerful. It gives the clients a lot of peace of mind knowing that, because I know, I can imagine if you're doing them on your own, you're like, okay, I think I can do this much, but you may be missing something. What better person to have than your actual personal CPA come up with that number of what to convert? So I think that's a great example of how coordination is powerful and how you need to have that if you've reached a certain point in your life where you need to have these subject matter experts.
That makes a lot of sense, Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you spend a lot of time helping clients make decisions.
Yeah.
Why are decisions more valuable than just simply picking investments?
Yeah, great question. a lot of people that I meet with the first time, they come into the financial roadmap meeting and they just throw down their investment portfolio.
Right.
And they think that I'm just going to, analyze that and be like, oh, you can do the X, Y, Z. No, so that's not what we do. A lot of financial advisors do operate in that way where you're just kind of looking at the portfolio and looking at moving stuff. What I want to do is I want to understand the individual. And we're going to talk a little bit about the financial roadmap later, but the financial roadmap conversation, we're not even going to talk about money for, say, not about money, about your investments until about 45 minutes into the meeting. I want to understand you as an individual because everybody is so different. Everybody has different ideas and plans when it comes to their money, how they want to spend it or who they want to leave it to, things like that. So I need to understand exactly how you feel about money before we even take a look at any of your portfolio. But getting back to the big decisions, over the course of a lifetime, people end up making maybe 4 or 5 huge decisions that make a huge impact on their life. So you think about like when to retire, whether or not to sell a business, what happens if you receive a large inheritance, what happens if a spouse dies early, things like that. So all of these things are huge moments in a person's life, and they can be planned for. You don't have to kind of just shoot through the hip and hope that things work out. When you're working with a comprehensive lifetime financial advisor, all of this stuff is accounted for and planned for. So no matter what happens, say like in the financial markets, or if there's something that happens unexpectedly, you've planned for it and you know that you're going to be successful.
So Jacob Warren with Financial Planning HQ, do you think people underestimate the cost of bad financial decisions?
Yes, 100%. And that's why I'll give you 3 examples of people that I've worked with. One comes to mind. The first one that comes to mind is a retired school teacher, actually, who I just retired this year. Everyone's preparing their classrooms right now, and she's at home relaxing, which is great for her. But we had a meeting about 5 years ago where she was like, Jacob, I'm ready to retire. I'm tired of being a school teacher. I don't want to do it anymore. And then we sat down and we looked at the numbers, and it did not make sense for her to retire. So you can imagine, being the bearer of that bad news was not a comfortable conversation. But I told her, I said, hey, look, let's come up with a 3 and a 5 year plan and see how fast we can make this work. And she said, okay, she's fine with it. And she now has told me, now that she is retired and everything is taken care of and we know that her assets are going to last for the rest of her life, she told me recently that she's glad we had that conversation. If she would have just retired on her own without consulting with her financial planner first, she might have ran out of money when she was in her 80s. And if she lived a very long life, she definitely would have ran out of money. So that's an example of where you're making this big decision, but you're doing it in a very, very smart way and making sure that you're going to be successful. Another example is a client or a potential client. They actually did not hire me, Todd. And I think about them from time to time because they were in a very unique situation. They were making a lot of money. They had a business,
nice,
very successful business, and the other one was a very high salaried employee. So they were making well into the mid 6 figures a year. And after I completed their financial roadmap, I noticed you haven't set yourself up for your future at all. You're making all this money, but it looks like you're actually spending all of this money. And at the end of the year, ending up owing taxes and things like that. So they were being a little bit irresponsible with their money. And they were in their mid 50s and they wanted to retire. And I said, hey, this is a pivotal moment. You guys are earning a lot of money. You have a very profitable and successful business. You need to make some changes in order to be successful and retire. And, the reason I think about them is because I think this was probably about 5 or 6 years ago where they could be now. I don't know if they implemented anything on their own. It's hard for people to change on their own. But the reason I think about it is because if I think about it now, we could have made a lot of headway, and I hope that they did something. But that's an example of where indecision and not being willing to kind of take a risk and do something that's good for you can end up costing you in the long run.
Wow, that's a powerful story. I hope everybody's listening and takes notes. You often mention the financial roadmap meeting. What exactly goes on?
A financial roadmap meeting is a meeting where we sit down. It takes about, if you're a married couple, it takes about an hour and 15 minutes. And we talk about money. Money is, like I mentioned earlier, it's very different for everybody. So we'll talk about money, values, goals, and we'll discover if we're a good fit to work together.
Okay, Jacob, thank you for joining me. We'll be right back.
This has been Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt, brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm. You can learn more at marquardtlawfirm.com. And be sure to listen to the full Talk Law Radio show Saturday mornings at 11 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Most families don't realize they have hidden legal blind spots until it's too late. Wills, trusts, Medicaid planning, even protecting a business. These are the kinds of issues attorney Todd Marquardt helps uncover before they become problems. Todd is the host of Talk Law Radio, where each week he guides listeners through the legal challenges families, veterans, and business owners face, while showing them the practical steps to protect what matters most. Catch Talk Law Radio, Saturdays at 11 a.m. on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, 6:30 a.m. The Word, and now in Houston on AM 1070 and 103.3 FM The Answer, or anytime on YouTube. Planning isn't just about documents. It's about peace of mind, security for loved ones, and building a legacy that lasts. Don't wait for a crisis. Do it before you die.